because of financial assistance Ghana receives from the US in support of our agriculture and other sectors, do we now become puppets to them? And our parliament should cater to the donor and the so-called rights of the minority people in our country against the will of the vast majority of this republic? Is that where we are headed? Will money decide what's wrong and right in our country? You are welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cyrus, and this is Tuntum Network in Accra, Ghana. This is a word of caution to viewers who don't watch my episodes in full. Before concluding on my opinion and commenting in the comment section on their made-up opinion on me, kindly watch in full first before you give your opinion on what you think I think. Thank you. First of all, I did an episode when Ghana's parliament passed the Anti-LGBTQ bill in parliament on 28th of February this year. Since that time, the news has gone viral all over the world in every major news editorial. CNN, MSNBC, DWTV, BBC, Al Jazeera. Every major news company in the world have spoken about it. And their stand on it is clearly against the passage of the bill. So the bill was passed on 28th and has 7 to 14 days for the president to assign his signature to make it a law. Now, if he refuses to sign his signature, this is what the leader of the bill and the parliamentarians intend to do. Take a look at this.
I hold the view that I believe he would listen to the will of the Ghanaian people and proceed to sign it. If he doesn't do it, we would exercise our 2/3 majority power in parliament and pass it into law.
Now, as a citizen of Ghana and an interested person in this bill, I had to redo this episode and speak to as many people that may want to know what's going on in Ghana and why our parliament chose that route because of these kinds of messages. Let me read a few to you. On 29th February, which was one day after the bill was passed in parliament, a U.S. State Department spokesperson by name of Matt Miller also posted this, and I quote, "If this bill becomes law, it will certainly have a chilling effect on the foreign investment and tourism in Ghana. Should the bill pass, it will potentially have ramifications on U.S. assistance," end of quote. And then the United States ambassador to Ghana, Ms. Palmer, also shared this on X, I quote, "I am saddened because some of the smartest, most creative, most decent people I know are LGBT. The bill Parliament passed takes away not only their basic human right, but those of all Ghanaians because it undermines their constitutional rights to freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of the press. It will be bad for public order and public health. If enacted, it will also hurt Ghana's international reputation and Ghana's economy," end of quote. Okay. So these kind of speeches, ladies and gentlemen, are the reasons why I wanted to do this episode. First of all, Ghana is a sovereign country. We have our freedoms enshrined in our constitution. Freedom to life, freedom of religion, freedom of association, freedom of speech and expression, and so on. But these same freedoms, as stated in the constitution, are not an open check kind of freedom. They are defined within the confines of our constitution and shall hence be followed through. The Constitution of Ghana takes into consideration the traditions of our people and the morality of our society in mind in defining what these rights actually mean. Now, if you live in a democracy, it will always mean that the majority's will be the direction of the country. This situation may end up to be good sometimes and other times bad. But that's what democracy is all about. And as it stands now, the parliamentarians in Ghana who represent the interest of their constituents have unanimously passed that bill. And so for anyone who is curious about what the majority of our people think, you don't need to think too far anymore, because that's exactly what our parliamentarians has voted. There is no local church against that bill. Islam doesn't support the LGBTQ group, and it's a taboo among our traditionalists. And these religious institutions form the fabric of Ghana's society. But the disturbing part of this whole issue is when you see a United States government official threatening a country with cutting off aid because of a decision the country has constitutionally legislated. That part is what really made me want to do this episode. Because if as a country blessed with all these enormous natural and human resources, if you really need to depend on aid to survive, then you got real big problems, serious problems. Our leaders are the reasons why Africa is the way it is. I am a Ghanaian and a very proud one. But whenever I see the president of Ghana, what comes to my mind is two things. I have this thought in my mind, which is, to me, that's all he thinks about as a president. The number one thing is this. I think he's thinking, how do I position this country in a way that can qualify us for more loans? And number two, where can I get more loans from? And this is from a guy who has voted for him twice. My perception may be totally wrong about him, but hear me out on my reasons first. If you look around the country, every major construction or project being carried out is financed with loan money. So that would suggest that the focus for this government is on how to be credit worthy and be in the good books of foreign donors to get more loan facilities and aids to undertake projects. Because if it were not so, I don't see how his finance minister will write this letter or alleged letter to the president. Let me read this letter with you. The letter is dated on the 28th of February 2024. And this is what he says. On the 28th of February 2024, the Parliament of Ghana passed the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Anti-LGBTQ bill. The bill is yet to be forwarded to His Excellency the President for assent. The passage of the bill has triggered reaction from some of Ghana's development partners, international financial institutions, and SCOs in the country. Honorable Minister convened an emergency meeting with the Chief Director and Director of the Ministry, the Governor and the First Deputy Governor at BOG, which is Bank of Ghana, and the Commissioner General of GRA, which is the Ghana Revenue Authority, to ascertain the immediate impact of the passage of the bill on the implementation of the 2024 budget. The report summarizes the deliberations at the meeting and provides recommendations for the consideration of His Excellency the President. Now, this is what the letter states. Impact on World Bank funded programs. The expected 300 million financing from the first Ghana Resilient Recovery Development Policy Operation. The second one is the ongoing negotiations on the second Ghana Resilient Recovery Development Policy, which is also $300 million. Ongoing negotiations for $250 million. Disbursement of undisbursed amounts totaling $2.1 billion for ongoing projects will be suspended, and the preparation of pipeline projects and declaration of effectiveness for two projects totaling $900 million may be suspended. In total, Ghana is likely to lose $3.8 billion in the World Bank financing over the next 5 years. So this is the letter, and I'll leave the link to the whole letter in the description box below. It's a GhanaWeb.com publication, first of all. I voted for this government twice, like I said, and I'll tell you this. If they decide not to pass the law for monetary reasons, they should remember that they have lost quite a number of voters if they decide to do this. Until when will money be your God? That is my first question. Upon all the monies you have received and squandered in the last 7 years, isn't there a time where you do one principal thing for posterity reasons? In any case, the loans that we contract from the World Bank and Co., are they not making profit from it? So you want to tell me that a financial entity like the World Bank and the IMF will not offer loans because of people's sexual preferences? All the countries in Africa which has criminalized same-sex marriages, tell me this, have they died? Have they starved to death? I mean, it's getting worrisome with these financial institutions out there. If not for incompetence and lack of smart leaders, should this be an issue in Ghana? Can the US and his allies say this to an oil-rich Middle East country when they desperately need their oil? So because of financial assistance Ghana receives from the US in support of our agriculture and other sectors, do we now become puppets to them? And our parliament should cater to the donor and the so-called rights of the minority people in our country against the will of the vast majority of this republic? Is that where we are headed? Will money decide what's wrong and right in our country? What Ghana's parliament has done is a statement of our rights, our culture, and our values, and our religious position. We will not compare ourselves to any country because we do not share the same core values. If you choose to do whatever with whoever in your room, your bedroom in Ghana, nobody has that time to be spying on you. Nobody cares. But if you want our society's norms and values to be changed because of what you have decided to do sexually, then the law is the law. If you want to be teaching your children this lifestyle in your home, that's your own cup of tea. But the moment you want to make it a public thing in public schools, then the public have equal rights too. And they will protect themselves and their children in accordance with the law. You should expect this. This proverb in Ghana is always true. When a person helps you, he has burdened you, which is a very typical thing here. Which means whenever a person helps you in the form of money or kindness, that person has put you in a position that's likely to burden you with a payback request. There will be a request because of that help. And if Ghana doesn't win itself out of this loan grant and aid thing, the burden to pay back will always hunt us. If the West won't do business with you, go to the East. China is ready to work with anyone and will never meddle in your internal affairs. This is what the West did in Francophone Africa for years, and the people decided enough was enough in Niger and Burkina Faso and Mali. I think that time is coming where the whole of Africa will have to say enough is enough to these Western people and their way of life. I'll conclude with this. If the West is serious about business, let's do business. I think Ghanaians can take care of ourselves perfectly well. We know what is good for us and what is not good for us. Our parliament has decided, and that is how it will be. And for those of you who may not agree with what parliament did, the Supreme Court is sitting there waiting for you. This is a democracy. We are waiting for you to take it to the Supreme Court and let the laws of Ghana work. And the president of Ghana must remember this. His integrity is on the line. His promises to the churches is on the line. His so-called promise to God is on the line. Everybody is watching. Everybody is patiently and quietly watching what his next move will be. In the next few days, we will know whether he signs it or not. If he signs it, we know where his heart is. If he doesn't sign it and it goes to the Supreme Court, we also know where his heart is. But all the same, people will make up their minds. And if you're a Western country and you believe in democracy, then let democracy work. Ghana is a democratic country and we want it this way. And if you are from a Western country and you feel differently about Ghana and traveling to this country because of this new bill, then that is up to you. But this nation will move forward, whether with you or without you. Thank you so much for being a part of my podcast. God bless you. I'll come your way with another one. Until then, it's bye-bye for now.